you probably already know that Aberrus, the secret laboratory, is going to be the raid of 10.1, but you might have not noticed that we are actually going to be fighting an avatar of Neltharion. Like, we will literally fight Neltharion. We have datamined his pre-corruption model. There is already a fight description where it says that this is his version before he went insane. There are a bunch of spells and just abilities. Through the fight, we witnessed this transformation from him using earth abilities to just straight out just making void portals. Could this be an actual Neltharion and the Deathwing we fought was just his void copy that the old gods took over? Or could this have been the last remnant of Neltharion's sanity that he hid somewhere as he knew he was going insane? Kinda similar to that last remnant of Artus's humanity that he had to throw out. Is it possible that Neltharion himself could actually return at the end of 10.1, or could we learn insight from him about what was really going on all those thousands of years ago by freeing him from the madness? As you guys may know, spending a long time in front of the monitors can really strain your eyes, but this video sponsor, G&G Performance, has the actual solution for this. They've sent this to me more than a year ago. I've been using them every time I'm spending in the long hours in front of these two monitors, and they're really excellent. They can really relax your eyes and they can block blue light, which has harmful effects. Now, for the next 48 hours, you can get 40% off with my link in the description. Just remember, 48 hours after this video has been posted. So check out my link in the description below and get your own G&G Performance glasses. So, if you guys have followed the recent news, you might have heard that Aberrus is going to be the new and the big raid of 10.1 within the Zerala Caverns, the new zone that is under the Dragon Isles. But something that has kind of gone under the radar is that Neltharion is literally going to be the boss of this raid. The ultimate boss of 10.1 is going to be Sarkaret of those Draktyr that decided to follow Neltharion that you guys have seen in the cinematic. They're kind of like the third group that are going into the caverns, with us and the Incarnates as the first two. But a visage known as the Echo of Neltharion is going to be the penultimate boss, and there is actually a lot of information that we already have so early on. We have the entire encounter descriptions, the spells. We have also completely datamined a humanoid version of Neltharion with his armor and the entire look similar to the Dragonflight Legacy's animated series. At the moment, not all that much is known about this one, but one of you guys actually left a really interesting theory in a comment that when we combine this with the actual datamined encounter information from 10.1, the abilities, it actually makes quite a bit of sense. From what we can collect right now with the 10.0.7 and the 10.1 info, Neltharion's transition into Deathwing started on Forbidden Reach, and there are a lot of secrets we discovered there that we will also discover in 10.0.7 that is going to come out in a few days. We found documents about the origination of Azeroth, old gods, what he did to the Draktyr journals, and really, it's sort of like a timeline of his transition. This is even the place where he used his void powers to imprison Razaget through a void portal, so he was already kind of dabbling with this stuff early on. However, the real deal seems to happen within the Zerala Caverns deep beneath the Dragon Isles in Aberrus, which is his sinister top secret laboratory. By what we learned is going on around here and some of the looks, honestly, I kinda get an Ice Crown Citadel and Lich King vibe, as some of these experiments are quite gruesome looking, like visually. Aberrus seems to be the place where Neltharion transitioned into Deathwing, like this is even what Blizzard confirmed, but here is also where he started experimenting on void properties, creating his own army and all sorts of things. As we have read from some of the bosses, he also hasn't really been that nice to elementals either. For example, the most interesting thing we have discovered is an Elementium Plate Dragon as one of the experiments. This is a dragon that Neltharion had used, and from what we've learned, he attempted to infuse Elementium plates into various dragons, but only one actually survived, and this seems to be like a super excruciating ritual. The only confusing thing about this story is that Deathwing only got Elementium plates recently during the Shattering, and 10,000 years back, at the time of his betrayal, he was infused with adamantium plates, which are realistically quite different. Now, I don't know whether this is a retcon or not, but maybe through this experiment, he didn't think he was ready for the transition, or the adaptation was just too painful, as we will learn from this dragon. I mean, if you guys remember the Cataclysm cinematic where he says pain, agony, maybe his plan didn't work at the time, and only later he was infused, or he didn't think it was yet necessary, but when he just turned into this this molten monstrosity that was Deathwing in Cataclysm, he just didn't even care, he just took on the Elementium plates. However, with the Zerlek Caverns, we could also discover a lot of discarded experiments, and most importantly, different types of Dractyr. We learned that apparently before he created the Dractyr, there were a lot of failed versions. However, if you guys follow the news, you might have seen that we have some datamined models of the Dractyr and the Draconid void monstrosities, and when I say monstrosities, they really look like monsters. In my opinion, I'm definitely getting undead scourge vibes out of them, like these just abominations, and I feel like these creations might have occurred after Neltharion had already put his own Dractyr to sleep, and this was like the next step to just straight out void infuse his own Dragonflight. Now, the most interesting finding we are discovering in Aberrus is, of course, as I said, the actual Echo of Neltharion. Here is the actual raid description, the official one from 10.1. Before the name Deathwing was whispered in terror, Neltharion was known as the Earth Warder. During this time, the aspect of Earth used his power to construct a massive hole deep beneath the surface where he accumulated secret knowledge. A visage of the Black Dragon still resides within the Crucible, waiting for an opportunity to continue the work started so long ago, at any cost. So, purposefully this is all kept vague, but this could seriously just imply so many things. First off, and the most interesting line is that this visage still awaits the opportunity to continue the work, and second, why would Neltharion create an avatar of himself to just remain within the Crucible underneath the Dragon Isles? Like, what was the actual reason? Well, a really interesting theory is that this Echo of Neltharion might actually be the good side, the actual Neltharion, the Earth Warder, the Dragon aspect that was the brother to the other aspects, sort of like that the last remaining bit that Arthas had of his humanity that he threw out back in Wrath of the Lich King. It is entirely possible that Neltharion may have dug too deep with his research, and maybe even quite literally dug too deep, as there is a theory that there could be an old god beneath the Dragon Isles, and we are literally going deep beneath the Dragon Isles. If he dug too deep, the old gods could have stolen his form, killed him, and then took over, and that Neltharion was really no more, and Deathwing we saw was just a completely different creation, like the Void just multiplied him and created a new avatar. Or, in my opinion, the more likely scenario is that Neltharion may have realized he was dealing with really dark, really powerful magics, and he knew that he was going insane and he couldn't control it, so he decided to create an avatar of the last remnant of his sanity and to imprison him somewhere so that the Black Dragonflight could discover him later on. If you guys remember, in 10.1, Blizzard said that a big part of the new story will be the Black Dragonflight dealing with their heritage, history, so I could totally see this storyline happening. Now, if you also observe the abilities of this boss fight in the first phase, we're definitely dealing with Neltharion the Earth Warder. He has mainly groundbreaking, quake type abilities, although there are still some shadow abilities. He uses a few here and there. However, when the second phase starts, as the stage is called Corruption Takes Hold, the description says that Neltharion surrenders to the powers of the voices from beyond, inflicting shadow damage. Then Neltharion just goes on full void and shadow abilities, literally just summoning void creations and doing pretty much every type of void ability you could possibly imagine. Then in phase 3, he just goes even more insane, as the stage is called Reality Fractures, and he just starts creating portals into the void realm. Now, I think the way this encounter goes definitely goes decently with the theory that this might have been the last remnant of Neltharion's sanity, but that was super close to corruption, and what we're just witnessing is this corruption live, the copy of what happened all those thousands of years ago. Now, of course, we don't really know how this fight ends and what its culmination is going to be like, so we can really only speculate at the moment. Personally, I think it would be really stupid if this really is Neltharion, we free him and he like joins us or something. I think that would just really ruin his character and pretty much just retcon and just wipe out the entirety of all the good Cataclysm lore. However, what I feel like is more likely is that we might do like a freeing type scenario similar to what we did with Anduin, and we might get some brief insight or info before the Echo just disappears into nothingness and Neltharion's soul is freed. We could also maybe learn what was really going on. We could finally, for the first time ever, actually encounter Neltharion, and he could give us some sort of a speech to like Rathian, Sabellian, or even Abyssian, which could definitely lead into the future storyline of the Black Dragonflight and the creation of a new Black Dragonflight aspect. Now, maybe I would buy into the theory that Neltharion is going to return full scale if he was like the final boss of this raid, the final boss of 10.1, but the main guy is, as we know, going to be the rebellious Dractyr, although this would not be the first time Blizzard created a second to last boss that was actually relevant. However, with the way this is set up, I feel like this is going to be more of like a minor story, so similar to us freeing Arthas and Zeret Mortis and his soul disappearing, but it is not going to be like the actual, like the culmination of Dragonflight. So we might free Neltharion and the last remnant of his sanity, we might get some info and he's like gone, and personally, I think that would really be the best way to go. I really don't think it would be a good idea to just resurrect such a major character and such an important character and to also just give him a leading role. I feel like that would really just ruin all the old lore. Thank you for watching. Check out Could Interact to get a thanks back by clicking on the screen, and check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.